All right, this morning we were going to set out some traps, land traps for canines. This time I'll see if I can set footholds. Just had a brutal freeze. I think Fahrenheit Friday and Saturday for Christmas Day, and the day after Christmas Day it was wind chill here. It was almost 25, 30 below freezing. So the ground is now, it's like concrete. We had a little bit of snow Friday morning, and then it turned to like a slushy freezing rain, and then the temperature dropped like tremendously. It probably went down 30 or 40 degrees in a matter of a few hours. So the ground is frozen pretty good, but there's a couple of good trails I have back here for cable restraints. I'm going to put the cable restraints in. We are expecting a little bit of rain at the end of this week, but I have a good week at least to check these. Now, usually my canines here run on a 5 to 6 day cycle. You'll maybe see them every 5-6 days. I don't see them every day, but I had put some bait out in locations, and all that bait is gone. So something is eating it. I know I checked here last week for tracks in the snow. I had fox tracks. I had some coyote tracks too. I didn't see any fisher tracks. Although I have heard reports of a bobcat pretty close to me. Right across the street, there's a gentleman who's a friend with the landowner here, and he had said 2 or 3 times now during deer season he'd seen a bobcat. I do not have a bobcat tag, but I do have a fisher tag. But we'll see. I'd really like to see fisher and bobcat improve in my area and become more prevalent. I kind of have to, from where I am, I have to move north and northwest before I see consistent bobcat and fisher populations. But they're going to spread. They've been here for probably 10 years, I would say. I think was the one they first reintroduced fisher. Bobcat was a little bit before that. I actually read an article a couple days ago in an outdoor news magazine for PA that the Game Commission is talking about reintroducing pine marten. And I thought, yeah, go right ahead. Because in a few years I'll be able to trap pine marten as well. That's fine by me. I think that what had happened with the pine marten was they were probably trapped out, I'm pretty sure, with development and stuff. In my state, the east coast of the state is pretty well developed. You got a lot of major cities. I don't see another really major city going west till you hit Pittsburgh. That's the next major metropolitan area. Anywhere north of that, when you go up to northern PA, it's much better for fisher and bobcat. You got a lot of big woods, much more rural, no big cities, anything like that. It's much better. But we're gonna throw in a couple of cables here and see what we can do. Okay, shameless plug for the Natural Trappers Association. Also a shameless plug for the Pennsylvania Trappers Association. You should join your local trapping organizations. They help keep trapping legal in the state you're in. You wouldn't believe some of the things that the anti-trapping organizations get up to. So support your local organizations and try and get the youth into trapping. If you go on YouTube or on Facebook, Jakey Crack Outdoors, another YouTube channel, him and Matt Brophy run a youth trapping contest. I think they done it last year, and I had donated some stuff to that, and then I think they're doing it this year too. So go and check that out on Facebook. It might be under Epler Fur, it'd be under Matt Brophy, or be under Jakey Crack Outdoors if you search those names. I'll try and put a link for Jakey's or Jakey's YouTube channel in the link below. But those guys do good work for trying to get the kids into trapping. All right, let's put some traps in the ground. Okay, I'll go over some of the equipment I'm going to be using. Let's see, I've got some mink boxes, or not mink boxes, but weasel boxes. I have some mink boxes in there too, but I won't be putting those out today. Just all my rivers are frozen pretty much. There are lots of edge ice and then shelf ice where the water's been going up and down. The ponds are pretty much frozen over. But weasel boxes, you see here I have a real small hole in it. It's retained by wire. You can actually see the teeth mark in this one because I've caught coons in it. See where they chewed it? On the inside, I have a vintage Victor jump spring trap, a number 1.5. That might be a number 1. It's pretty small. So what I'll do is I'll put some bait in the back of the box and I'll set this right in front of the hole so when they jump in and out, they'll get them. I have never caught a weasel in my area in the state, ever. But that doesn't mean I'll stop trying. I'll keep trying, just in case. Just in case. I have, however, caught grinners in these, and I've caught mice, of course, and I've caught coons, because coons will reach in that hole to try and get that bait, and then they're stuck. They stick their hand in there. So you always have to wire them down. You can't just leave them, because I've had them where they're flipped over and you know, pulled away and flipped upside down where the coon's been messing with them. One thing I will show you that I really do like here are these. I got these from the snare shop. They're supports, wire supports for cables or snares, whichever one you're going to use. You can see they have a nail welded onto it. So for conditions like today, this is great. You just hammer it right down into the ground. It's got a little peg on it to stop it from turning, and then you just set your height on it. Here the minimum height is 6 inches off the ground, but you have one a little higher than that for the coyote. 6 is good for fox, gray fox, or red fox. It should be high enough to avoid a coon, unless the coon sticks his head up and then freaking brushes the end of the cable. You know, you'll get them then as well. But 6 is, like I said, is good for fox. 6 to 8. 8 to 10 is probably better for coyote if you have a pretty decent sized coyote. That changes depending on where you are in the country. The animals, the further you go north, the animals tend to get larger because of the cold. But yeah, I really like these. They work really well. If you watch my channel from last year, I had some bad experiences with 7x32 cable where I had coyotes chewing out with cables. So I have strictly gone to 1x19. That's what I'm only going to use from now on. I'm not going to use 7x32. The 1x19 is much harder for them to chew through. It's very, very slick. You know, the cable closes really quickly. There's all sorts of rules and regulations for cables. And I can't use a snare. That's not legal for me to use. I can't have entanglement. That's not legal for me. Now, if you look at Trapper Jay's channel, he has pretty similar rules and regulations where he traps in Missouri. It's different from state to state. So you have to look at what your regulations are for your own particular state. The rules change. Some states can use 220s on dry land. I can't do that. I can use a 160 for fisher in a box as long as it's in a waterway, in a cubby. I think the largest trap I can use on land is like a 110 or 120, something like that. And even then it has to be in a cubby. But you just check your regulations for cables. So you see I have my cables here. I have them in individually wrapped in bags. It's nice and quick. Got my tag on there, got my link on there. I got my wolf fang anchor on there. It's all ready to go. I can just take it out of the bag and boom, into the ground. And that's how it's gonna go. I have tested different things with cable. I have dyed. I have another 2 dozen at home that I dyed real quick. I didn't leave them in there for ages. They're not black or by any means or anything like that. Just takes the shine off them a little bit. I have some that are treated. I have some that are untreated. I haven't noticed really yet a difference between treated or untreated. Some guys say the shine, if the coyotes or the fox see the shine of the cable, you know, that will deter them from going down that area. But the pots I'm putting them in are pretty thick, so it's kind of tough for them to see the wire. But I'll keep experimenting with that and see how it goes. A lot of guys just boil them in baking soda, and that kind of takes the shine off of them. But we'll see. All right, let's go put some traps out.
Okay, here's an example, even in the field, of shelf ice. So the field flooded, it froze, and then the water gradually receded down into the ground. It froze on its way down, and you can see it just left this like ice structure. Isn't that something? It shows you how cold it is. That's why the ground is so hard. I thought I'd show you that's pretty cool. Okay, I'll show you an example here what I'm setting. See a trail right here. See a trail where the ice is there. These are deer trails. This is a trail from the ATV, so it's a 2-track, see? But this is a natural deer trail. This is where you can see where the deer were bedded down, lying in there. You see where the ice is. It's pretty bad when you need freaking ice cleats to set snares, but you can see the trail. I mean, it's very evident right here. Ooh, almost went. And there's another trail right here. And there's another trail right there. You can see my cable. Maybe you can see the cable. It's right there. You see here another good trail. Straight down in front of me there. So I'm gonna put another one in here. I'll put another one over here. I got 2 more behind me. There's another. See, this is a little bit too open. You could put a cable in here, but I like it where it's like really choked down. I have another one in there. There's a trail that goes out that way. So I have one in there too. Okay, here's a quick tip. You should always carry extra tags with you when you're out trapping, because I pulled this cable out of the bag and the tag was all ripped up on it. So I just put a new one on it just to be legal. So yeah, bring some extra tags with you. I know we should all check them before we go out to set them, but you know, you always miss one. Okay, I'm gonna push a dirt hole in here quick. I'm gonna put it right under the cedar tree. That'll give me some guard from the snow when we eventually get snow. I know it's coming sooner or later. I just punched a nice deep dirt hole here in my dirt hole punch. I know a lot of guys use like a Milwaukee drill with a like a little auger bit on it to drill out a dirt hole. You are not doing that here. You can see in the pan here the solid lugs of dirt that I took out of it. The top couple of inches of the ground is frozen anyway. It's, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches down it's ice. And then I got a good clear hole down there. I'm gonna dig a trap bed right here in front of the grass. I probably won't leave dirt, like exposed dirt. I might blend that actually with some more grass. I'm gonna put peat moss on it. I have a tub of peat moss with me. Very difficult to dig this ground. As you can see, it's like coming out in chips because it's frozen. I mean, you can see it here. It's there. See that? You can see the ice in the dirt actually. But I put some antifreeze in the bottom of it there. I'm gonna put probably antifreeze. I'm gonna bed it, and then put the peat moss on it, and then I might blend it with some of the grass. You know, I'll just cut grass over the top of it to blend it back in. There was some fox droppings right here, right next to it. So this is on the same trail. This is a tractor or like an ATV trail that we use when I mow in here. But the goldenrod here is where I have all the snares in here. That's where we leave that. And then right next to it, if I stand up, you see it's a big bunch of pine trees. Then on my other side here, I have a tree stand up in there. There's a spring in there that has flowing water in it that very rarely freezes because the water is coming out is ground temperature and it's always flowing. So it's even, there's just a little bit of a trickle. If it gets to a spot where it's stagnant, it will freeze. But there is some open water there. But as you can see, it's goldenrod everywhere. I got some thick brush wood line here, and then on the other side is what used to be a soybean field, which is now cut, of course, because it's too late in the season. But this is a good hunting area for predators here. A lot of mice, chipmunks, stuff like that, rabbits. You can see here, there's a big, thick swath of pine trees. Good cover. And then it's intermixed with this long grass. That's why I don't cut it. I just cut the ATV trail, so me and the landowner, if we need to get a deer out, we can drag the deer out. We tried to leave all this for the animals to use it. The deer do bed down in here, but we don't really hunt in here. Like I said, I have a tree stand down there. I have a tree stand at the opposite end of it, but I don't usually pressure this area a lot, or the trees here where they bed down in the trees. But we're gonna punch this dirt hole in here and see if we can get anything with it, if it'll start working. I don't think I'm expecting snow quite soon, but it's coming. Usually mid-January, February, we see most of our heavy snow. My cables worked in here last year with the snow. I'm gonna be using a Duke 550 on a heavy duty earth anchor. The same reason I use those. I use the wolf fangs. Really like those. They go in nice and easy, even in frozen ground. If you want to see a good video on a modified Duke 550, go check out the Hammers channel. I can't leave a link because it won't let me link somebody who has less than 1,000 subs, but he should have more than 1,000 subs, so go give him a sub. He does excellent. He does beaver trapping and stuff in the western side of PA, and coyote and fox and all the rest of it. He does all that, but he makes his own trapping equipment, and he does trap modifications, kind of like I do. So give him a check out. He turned a regular I mean, these are really good traps right out of the box. These are good traps. I really like these. I got a couple dozen of these, and I got a couple dozen NB550s, and I use those predominantly. But yeah, go check out his channel, and then I'll get this dirt hole in here, and then we'll come back and check it. Okay, there's our finished set. Pretty much I just used my scissors and I chopped the grass over the top of it, so I don't have any long pieces of grass, but the pan is about right there. Good deep dirt hole in there. I left the fox trappings here, just re-soaked them with fox urine. Sprinkled a little bit of fox urine. I used Murray's Predator Getter. I have some on the tree here, and then just put the rest of the stick in the bait hole. For bait, I got Sawmill Creek Final Step that I got from Joe Young. And I also used Young's Bait and Lure Company Heavy Hitter, which is like a gland lure. There's some in the hole, and there's some just above the hole on a little bit of a stick. Because the cold weather now, you need a little bit of extra help with the scent. This scent here, you can see I hit right on the top of it, skunk long distance bait number 3. So I videoed what I use at each set, so I know what I used. I have a logbook at home, and then I fill in the logbook and see if I caught in a certain area or didn't catch in a certain area, or what lures I used and what I caught with. So there's our set. We're going to leave it there and see what it does. I didn't use my kneeling mat, but I have my full-length chest waders on because this whole place is a swamp hole. So I didn't leave any scent on the ground. I try not to leave especially if I'm putting cables in this stuff. I'll wear my waders because I don't leave any scent. Then let's see where that trail is where I have that cable. There's one back this way, I think. Yeah, right here. There's a cable right there. You can see the ground behind it. It's frozen. It's ice. So this ground undulates a lot, so some of it is dry, some of it is frozen, so I have to be really careful putting a dirt hole trap in here. It's got to be somewhere high, so I'm not going to do too many dirt holes. It's so hard to dig the ground, but we'll give that one a go, and we'll leave it there and see what it does. Here, setting some traps. I got me a bonus. Oh yeah, big old freaking squirrel. Look at that guy. Full winter coat. Look at its tail on him. Look at that coat. He's a beauty. I got him with my 22 Win Mag. There it is. There we go. Pretty decent shot right below the ear hole. About 50 yards. Maybe we'll get a few more. Okay,
Done setting traps for now. Had a bit of a walk around just to check and see if I seen any more sign, but the ground is so frozen it's hard to even see deer tracks. I might put a DP out by the pond and another DP by the trail here. I'm not going to anchor in the ground. I'm going to use a cable and anchor to a tree because the ground is fierce hard. It's gonna, I'm pretty sure though it's gonna defrost maybe by the end of this week, and that's just gonna be a mess. That's why I only put one dirt hole in, and then the rest was cable restraints. So I may add to that. I'm going to be checking it, of course, so I'll be checking them every day, so I may add to that depending on the sign. I'd really like to get a little bit of snow and then see where my really active trails are. But we'll wrap that one up for now, and we'll see you on the next one.